Hello, everyone, and welcome to MT4Professional. My name is Randy Lindsay. I am your host today. Today, we're going to be talking about trading strategies using the MT4Professional platform and the world-class MT4Professional scanner. I want to make sure everyone knows that we are here for educational purposes only, that MT4Professional and Resilient Traders are not investment advisory service, and we are not registered to provide advice. But what we can do is train and teach you how to use the platform to find good trade setups and to successfully build a trading plan that's consistently profitable and successful. Trading futures, stocks, forex options, and cryptocurrencies has a large potential for reward, and you can make a lot of money. But they also have a large potential for risk, and you can lose a lot of money. So make sure that you are aware of the risks involved and you are willing to accept them in order to trade or invest in any of these markets. So please don't trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Past performance is not indicative of future results, so make sure that you get advice from a competent financial advisor before you start trading or investing in any of these markets. Again, I'm Randy Lindsay. I'm your trade coach, operations director here. Joining me today is our product development director, Claudio Cardinal. He's also our technology guru, and we couldn't do anything without him being around. So thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about trading strategies using MT4Professional. I'll go into the details of that, specifics of it. I'm going to talk about a trade scanner, what a market scanner is, and what MT4Professional is all about. Of course, I want to do all of this with a live demonstration showing you exactly how to use the platform. And I'll make you a very special offer if this is your very first time at the webinar, and if you have any doubts that you want to get started, I'll make it an offer for you to get started right away. So as usual, there will be questions and answers throughout the day's presentation. So be sure and use the chat panel to ask your questions if you have any. So getting right off into our trading strategies, there are a lot of popular strategies out there that are being used. One of the most popular is the EMA and price, where you're using just pure price action coupled with just a simple exponential moving average. Next would be the MACD and signal, where you've got some moving average convergence, divergence indications, and a signal line, which helps you to see when that becomes bullish or bearish. You have standard moving average crossovers, which is very popular. You got combinations of the three, which you've got pure price action, MACDs, even some relative strength to determine the degree of overbought oversold. And there's the ever popular alligator indicator, which combines three different moving averages on longer term time frame charts to help you to gauge longer term trends and to make the big moves possible. The MT4Professional scanner can scan in real time all of these strategies plus many more, and alert you when these conditions are met. We'll get into that in a little bit more details a little bit later on. But first, we're going to talk about a market scanner. What is a market scanner? What is MT4Professional? So consider the 50 different Forex pairs, 20 CFDs, 9 different time frames. That's more than 630 different combinations to check if you're trying to find a trade setup. So do you really think that you can manually do this on your own? How often do you think that you're missing opportunities amongst all of those cross pairs? Well, today, if you're trading on different instruments, it's a must, because trading profitably, you have to trade uncorrelated instruments. That removes uncertainty and helps you to diversify your portfolio. So perfect solution for this is a scanner, something that automatically looks for a trade setup and alerts you to the fact when it's ready. So what is a market scanner? It's a scanner that automatically looks for these looks for the trade setups using the entire market at a glance, meeting your own rules based on standard or custom indicators that you've configured yourself. So while it's not a signal provider, it's a tool that allows you to analyze the strategies you want to use using any indicator that you want to utilize. A simple example would be the cross of two moving averages. The image on the right shows that for every symbol that we use here, I want to see a green cell when there's a bullish cross. That means the fast moving average crosses above the slow moving average, and a red cell if the is a bearish cross where the fast moving average crosses under or beneath the slow moving average. So that at any moment I can look all the way through all of the symbols that I have for whatever time frame I'm looking at to determine whether I see bullish or bearish trends and correlation with time. It would be a really cool indicator that could do that for me. So a market scanner does the work for you by allowing you to focus on more important things like managing your trade or getting your mindset where it belongs, just focusing on the trade rather than the setup. So the market scanner searches for the conditions when they meet your rules. It identifies and alerts you to the fact that it can do that. So that's what I want out of a market scanner, and that's how it should work. So here's another example using EMA and price. Right here, I'm looking at if price is greater than an exponential moving average, I want to see it turn green or bullish. And if it's less than, I want to see if it's bearish. It's usually good for longer term trends. It can also work for shorter term trends as well. But looking at a 1, 5, and 15-minute chart, you can see the instruments that are longer term aligned bullish or bearish. And then you can see the ones that are currently in transition. The ones that are longer term bearish transitioning into shorter term bullishness might just be a short term correction. So when it turns back red again, like you see Ethereum here over Bitcoin, then you can see that that is coming back in line with the longer term trend and would be a great opportunity to get in. Likewise, you can see the longer term trends here are green. You have a shorter term trends that have turned red. So these cycling of the shorter term green to red to green might indicate a very good potential setup as well. So it's nice to be able to see that if your rules are met based upon the conditions that you've established, whether a setup is good or not. So talking about multiple time frames, if you trade using multiple time frames, then you have a higher probability of a profitable trade. And that's due to correlation. It's just one of the advantages of using multiple time frame technical analysis. Look at the charts over here on the right. You can see the longer time frame envelope has a period of much longer uptrends and corrections. And if you look at the hourly chart, which is 4 times less than the time frame of the longer term, you can see that it is a lot more choppy. Consider the 15-minute, then you can see the choppiness is almost untradeable if you're looking at this. So you can see if you're taking trades in the direction of the longer term trend, then you stand a higher probability of ending the trade in profit and not taking any of the corrective trades while it's in an uptrend, and then only taking the corrective trades if the longer time frame is in a correction. So that gives you a lower risk, higher probability trade setup. So market scanner that could search for trade setups that are based on your own rules and verify it with multiple time frame analysis, it would be an extremely valuable tool. So let's look at a quick example. This is a 4-hour daily and weekly setup where you're looking for longer time frames to help confirm. Where you can see the blue cross that I have on all 3 of the charts, you can see that I have at this point a MACD bullish signal. I have a EMA and price where price is just closed above my exponential moving average. And I have a rising relative strength showing bullishness in that direction. Coupled with that, you can see at the same time, I have a bullish MACD, rising relative strength. And then finally, I have rising relative strength for my 3rd time frame. So notice that I sequentially only use certain indicators on different time frames. Now, the rule is that I want to see all 3 of these aligned on my fast time frame. I only want to see these 2 on my middle time frame, and I only want to see relative strength on my longer time frame. If I have a scanner that can do that for me and tell me when these conditions are met, I know I have a very powerful and robust system. And when those conditions are not met, I want to know that it's just in standby mode and I don't even need to consider those instruments. This is a valuable tool, and I want to introduce you to that. So by taking trades in harmony with a longer time frame, I get lower risk trades, higher probability trades. It's a powerful combination for any trader, showing the importance of using multiple time frames in your trading. So a market scanner using this is an extremely valuable tool because it does the work for you. The only problem we ran into on MT4 or MT5 is that there weren't any scanners available. We did find a few, but they were either too complex to configure, which meant, yeah, you had to be a programmer to use it. They were unstable, or maybe a single tool that wasn't well integrated with the entire system. A lot of the scanners were incompatible with a lot of indicators, and there were a lot of other issues that you came into. So we decided the best solution would be just to create our own. So we've decided to make MT4Professional ourselves for our own daily trading. And now it's the #1 market scanner on both MT4 and MT5. It's a tool that allows you to instantly scan the entire market for setups that match your own unique criteria and rules using the indicators that you want to use. And when you found a good setup, it also allows you to enhance your technical analysis, enabling multiple time frame analysis, which really isn't easy to do on standard MT4 and MT5. So I'm going to go right into a live demonstration now and let you see that for yourself. So this is standard MT4 that I'm showing on the screen right now. You can see that I do not have the ability to look at multiple time frames other than just looking at them at a glance. If I want to do any type of analysis, i.e. if I want to see if the low or the breakout of this pivot was valid, then I need to be able to look at the other time frames to see that. So I need to look at this time and price. I need to look down at the low axis here on the time to determine where this occurred. So that was 0613. That's June 13th at 18:15 p.m. I have to look over at this chart and find the same thing. That's 18, so it'd be right in this area. And likewise, I'd have to go over to this chart and find out it was right in that area. And both of those were showing white volume, so probably would not have made a very good reversal setup for that trade. So those are the types of things you want to look for multiple time frames. But in typical MT4, it's very difficult to do if you're trying to align these up. If I want to change the symbol on any of these charts, I have to physically drag and drop the symbols from the chart here on the left over to the chart that I want. And so physically, I have to have these charts laid out one at a time. And if I wanted to go up into full screen mode, you can see that I have a bunch of gray space that doesn't automatically fill in if I were to transition out and try to take advantage of large real estate. And if you have charts that are different sizes, then that just becomes a real nightmare if you're already familiar with MT4. Also, if I make any changes to any of these charts, MT4 automatically saves it for you. While that's all well and good, if I accidentally make a mistake or if I accidentally change something and I forget what it was, if I don't have a profile set up or if I don't have a template already made for that, then it's just going to be a nightmare trying to get it back to where it was before. So let me pull up MT4Professional now. MT4Professional is a platform that incorporates profiles and configurations. So looking at a configuration setup, the first thing you'll see when you get started is a blank screen with a selection of configurations. Now, if you're brand new, then the first thing you'll see are the presets. All the presets are configurations that we provide you from scratch that allows you to look at potential trade setups and It allows you to create your own custom configurations using any of these as examples. And that's how you create your own configurations, by using those as setups. So let me load the first one, the EMA and price. What this does is it looks at 3 different time frames from an EMA and price perspective, pure price action relative to a moving average. So if you're looking here at price greater than an EMA, you want to see a bullish signal. You compare that by looking at the blue line that you see that's on my screen. You can see it automatically aligns and tracks with the same position on all 3 of my time frame charts. So at any point you can see if you're bullish or if you're bearish on any of these time charts. So looking at this setup right here, you can see I'm bullish on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15-minute chart. So this would be an excellent opportunity for a trade entry with the potential of 16 to 17 pip profit. The trade exit then would be either on the cross down below the exponential moving average or on a fixed profit target, which is usually 10 to 15 pips. So the idea behind the trade then would be to identify the setup and to see when the alignment occurs for the trade to set up. So looking at the configuration, how do I get it to look like this? Or how do I get the chart colors to be like this? I edit the configuration, and over on the right-hand side, I can configure my chart layout, how I want it to look, the templates to use, the signals to use, and so forth. So you can see I'm using 3 different time frames, which can easily be switched with the pull-down menu. The template I'm using is one that I've created, but you can use any template that you have created that resides on either MT4 or MT5. So feel free to use whatever template that you have access to, and you pull that into MT4Professional. Once you pull these in and set them up, you can resize the windows. You can put in multiple windows if you wanted to, and you can tile them up any way that you like. Or if you have a setup that you've spent time on, then just simply start from that as a base configuration, and it'll automatically set it up for you. Once you click the save button, it will automatically save it out to the cloud. Since MT4Professional is cloud-based, then you won't lose any of your configurations or any of your data. Even if you lose your hard drive and it crashes, or if you don't even have your computer anymore and it gets stolen, you always have access to all of your configurations when you get launched back up again. They're always going to be in the cloud, and they will always be safe and ready for you. Looking at the scanner over here, how do I get the symbols loaded, or how do I get the scanners to go a specific color based upon my rules? Pardon me. Here you can configure your symbols. Any symbol that you have access to on MT4 or MT5 appears on the left. And so just by selecting it and ticking it over to the right, then you can load it and make it part of your trade list that you want over here. If there's one over here you don't want, just simply click the X and you can move it back and forth any way that you set it up. You can also click on the right-hand side, the scanner panel, and this goes right into the scanner rule sets. So I have a color rule, and that's what we call it, a rule that changes the color of each of the cells on the little spreadsheet that we have for you. I called it a main color rule. You can call it anything that you want. It's a name that you can give it. By clicking the pull-down menu, it gives you access to all of the color rules that you've defined, and gives you the ability to edit them as well, or to turn them on and off with the simple tick mark. If I edit the rule, then you can see that this strategy looks at the current close of price relative to the 15-period exponential moving average. So when close is greater than or equal to that 15, I want it to give a green color, which I indicate as bullish. Now I can make it any color that I want. And I can make any rule operation that I want, greater than, less than, not equal to, less than or equal to, and so forth. And I can use any indicator or any part of price that I want. Right now, I just have it defined as close of price, and I have it defined as a moving average. Now, if I wanted to change this, I could edit that, and I could make it any change that I wanted to, but right now I'm just looking only at the close of price. Clicking the plus sign gives you access to all of the indicators that you have, not only the standard ones, but from any custom indicator as well. So if you wanted to add any of those to your setup, you could do that right here. So if I wanted to select price, and instead of using the closer price, I wanted to use the current price. Or maybe I just only wanted to use the low based upon that. So I could easily select that and do that from here as well, right? So that's the bullish setup. When it goes in and compares these things, MT4Professional will first go in and look at condition set 1. If this is true, it will change the cell to become green. If this is not true, then it will go and execute condition set 2. That's what the OR is for, this or that. So if it's not greater than the EMA, then it probably has to be less than the EMA. And if this is true, it will set the cell color to be red. If neither of these conditions are true, which it won't be, but if there's a condition or some rule that you have that does, then the default color will be used. You also see that I have this applied to multiple time frames. Each of these time frames can be established with any rule that you have, and you can see I can add any number of time frames simply by clicking the plus sign here and changing a time frame and adding a color rule to the time frame. And if there's a time frame you don't want to have, then you just simply click the X and get rid of it. It's very easy to set up and configure. Once you have it the way that you like it, you can turn the real-time notifications tab on. Now, if you're using a 1-minute chart, then I highly recommend that you do not turn real-time notifications on until you verify that you want to see and get the signals every single minute. Now, getting a signal every single minute, that can be a little annoying after a while. So a lot of times the notifications should only be restrained for longer time frame setups, not for the shorter, really quick ones, unless you're a scalper and that's what you want. Once you're finished, click the OK button and make sure you always hit the save. Save button not only updates it on your computer, but it also updates it to the cloud. Make sure that everything is set up. When you close the window, make sure you always hit the load button, because it always will go back through and reload all the changes that you just took place on the system. And now, if you need to change, or if you see something that's on the chart that looks like a pretty good setup, then all you have to do is just click on any of the other symbols to see where those setups are, and you can see the setup and the configuration as it goes in real time. Okay, very easy, very quick and easy to use on these setups there. Okay, are there any questions so far on the use of the scanner, the use of the symbols, and the multiple time frame configuration and analysis? If you do have everything set up just the way that you like it, then if you click on select a configuration and edit, then notice there's a small icon in the bottom right-hand corner. This is a share icon. It allows you to share the configuration you just made with any other MT4Professional user. Now, simply by clicking this and entering at least 3 characters of their first name, last name, or email, you can find the trader and send them the configuration that you just set up. And what that does is it automatically goes into their configuration chart here down on the bottom where it says received inbox. So to access any of those, you can see the ones that you have received from someone else, and click the create your custom configuration, and then scroll down to the very bottom where you see the inbox, and that's where you can create a copy of that and use it as your very own. And did I mention already that this was cloud-based, so that all of these configurations are saved and you never have to worry about losing any data? You can even travel and use someone else's computer and all of your configurations will come up just the way that you like it. In addition, you don't have to be tied down to your computer if you see a trade setup and you need to leave the office for any reason. If you pull up any mobile browser that you might have, for example, I've got a browser set up here, log into your MT4Professional members area simply by clicking the sign in button off of our main website. This will log you into our members area where not only you can download all of the software directly, but you get access to our full onboarding process where we walk you through a series of 1, 2, 3 steps to get you listed, onboarded, and ready to go. And if you do need any type of help at all, you can join our Skype group. You can visit our Help and Documentation Center, where you get all of the quick start videos, how to install and uninstall the software if you're using a Mac or not. The specifics of using the configurators and all of the scanner rules and any of the settings with regards to your member area and billing can be done here as well. Okay, all the access to all the information is contained right there in the Solution Center. In addition, you can schedule a help session at any time to get you going. One thing I want to show you is that MT4Professional is a real-time scanner, so that if you do need to leave the office, you need to go to lunch, but you have a trade that might be getting ready to set up, well, all you have to do is go to the real-time scanner section of the members area and then launch the MT4 account that you're currently running MT4Professional on. You can see I have it already set up here on this account. And over on the left-hand side, you'll see an exact duplicate of the scanner that I have on my platform automatically come up on my mobile device, my phone, my tablet, my laptop, whatever it might be. And if I see an interesting trade setup that looks good, then all I have to do is click on the symbol. The symbol automatically will change on all of the charts, and I will see a chart pop up on my mobile device that shows me the current trade setup. Now, if this trade setup looks good, and in this case it does not because it's noisy, I would just discard it. But if I click on something else that looks interesting and it looks good, then I can instantly contact my broker on my mobile device and execute the trade without having to go back into my office. That's an awesome tool. And it means that it can go with you wherever you go. You don't have to worry about leaving it behind because it's already back here working for you. All you have to do is bring it up and look at it. Any snapshots that you do take, either through the system or here using the snapshot button that we have made available to you, is stored in the cloud as well, and you can organize them and take advantage of all of the snapshots that you've created within the platform. So here you can see any of the public or private pictures that you've created, and if you've created a public snapshot, then you can take that snapshot and get the link that we provide for you and share it on any of your social media devices that you have available to you. So we give you full access and ability to tag, to identify, to order, and to share all of your snapshots in a very quick, easy, and convenient way. And it's all backed up in the cloud, so you can save them or delete them at any point, making them either public or private at your own discretion. Very powerful system. All right, let's look at a little more complex setup here. I've got one that I call my MACD. This one is looking at 4-hour daily and weekly chart setups, where it's looking at price action relative to a 15-period exponential moving average. I'm looking at the MACD, and I'm also looking at the slope of a relative strength. Looking at the configuration for this, you can see that the 4-hour daily and weekly were set up with the EMA MACD template, Now I can change those to make them look like anything I want to, but in this particular case, that's exactly what I want. I can set my symbol list to be anything, and I'll show you what the configuration was. So for a strong signal, then you can see that I have a strong signal and a weekly trend. Well, I have strong signal applied to both of my 4-hour and daily charts, but notice that my weekly chart here, I only have the weekly trend applied, so that on my scanner, I can see when the trend or what the trend direction is, and the signal only tells me where the trades align with that longer term trend. So let's look at my strong signal first. The strong signal will occur when I have a MACD histogram, which is the base indicator line, closing less than the MACD signal line. So what that is the histogram, the white bar here is the base indicator, and the red line that you see relative to that is the signal line. So whenever I see the white become less than the red, that's what I'm looking for. The histogram less than the signal line, that's the first condition. And, well, that means that this has to be true also. And I need to see price less than the 15-period exponential moving average. And I need to see the relative strength, 14-period relative strength close 2 bars ago has to be greater than the current close of the relative strength, which indicates a negative slope. Because if the 2 bar ago relative strength is greater than the current, that means that the slope is going down. And so I have decreasing relative strength, which is what you want to see in a bearish condition. All 3 of these are true, I get a red cell. The corollary is if all of them are just the opposite. If I see a bullish MACD cross close above the moving average and a positive slope on my relative strength, then I want it to signal a bullish setup. Anything other than these 2, it will be yellow, showing that no condition is currently set up for either bullish or bearish. So that means it's neutral, it's congested, I don't need to be trading it. The next setup is just simply a trend. So I'm looking at the longer time frame, which is the weekly chart, to see if the close of price is greater than the 15-period EMA, which would be bullish, or if it's less than, which would be bearish. So I'm only looking at the price action of that weekly chart to consider direction of trend. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and close this and show you the configuration. So you can see on the chart here that the Euro US dollar, 4-hour, daily, and weekly are all bearish. You can see that the close is less than the EMA, have a bearish and a negative slope. You can also see the same thing, pull it up there, on the weekly daily chart. Price is less than, you can see a negative cross and a negative slope. And lastly, the weekly is the price is less than the EMA 15, showing a red trend. So very quickly, you just rifle through the weekly charts to see which ones are bullish, which ones are bearish. Then you want to make sure that when you get a transition from bullish or bearish or even neutral, that that's going to be a great setup and you're waiting for that alignment to occur. That's the idea behind it. Are there any other questions? That was a great example of using a little more complex setups for doing that. I haven't had any questions yet, so I'm assuming that the presentation is going okay, and then I'm trying to answer all of the questions that you have. Notice that when I went full screen, that all of my windows completely redrew to give me 100% fill of my workspace. That's what I want to see. When you see the fill, notice that when I hit F11, it automatically filled the screen, or when I put it back in place, then it will come back in and give me the full setup. So I like that. It gives me full control of my platform, and I really like to be able to use the additional real estate without having to worry about redrawing everything. And I can click on any symbol that appears over in my chart list here to update the charts over on the right. Are there other questions I might have before we go back into the presentation? And I'll make you a very special offer for those of you who want to get started with MT4 Professional right away and aren't currently using it. All right, then, let me pull my presentation back up. So I'll make you a very special offer real quick. The value that we assign to these for full featured MT4 or MT5, access to our Skype community group, which is a group of users that are in the Skype community that are usually there to answer your questions, to share trade setups, or just have general access to. You also get unlimited configurations and storage, unlimited emails, push notifications, and up to 100 SMS notifications per month to your mobile device. And you get all 14 pre-configured presets. All of these are available for you, not at $22.95, of course. We're not going to be charging even close to that. We've initially set it up to be $194 a month, but you're not even going to pay that. Take 50% off of that price, you get $97 a month. And that's what we go out the window with. $97 a month to get you started with MT4 Professional. But on top of that, you get 14 days to try it absolutely free. You won't be charged a penny until you're done with your trial. You get full 14 days, and you can cancel anytime during the 14-day trial and get the entire length of the 14 days for your access to that. And you won't be charged until after the 14 days are over. The link is mt4professional.com/trial to get started right away. Willie asked a question: when you submit a job utilizing MT4 Professional, does the job run in the cloud also? The job runs on your platform. It does not run in the cloud. It's only stored and saved in the cloud, but it runs directly on your computer. So you will have to have your computer up and running in order for it to be functional. But it does save and back up to the cloud. If you do have any questions along the way, then you can always contact us at support@mt4professional.com for any questions or comments that you might have. Now we'll go back to my MT4 platform and set it up so that you can see our link. Plus, I can answer any other questions that you might have. Yeah, you thought you could get rid of your VPS. Yeah, you need either VPS or some computer set up and running so that you can access it. You can still get the VPS data on your mobile device, but you will have to have something running. Sorry about that. Is there a specific trade setup or a configuration that you would be interested in seeing me put together for you here during today's demonstration? I'll be more than glad to do that. Or if you already have a configuration, you just want me to do a quick analysis of a potential trade setup, then I'll be more than glad to pull up the symbol of your choice and look at it if I have access to the data feed. You can always use third-party tools as well. You don't have to use standard MT4 indicators. So if you have your own set of indicators that you've developed, then you can use those as well. You're not limited in any way. You know, like the Hawkeye tools, for example. I'll look those up. It's a 5, 15, 30-minute time frame setup using 3 different charts, 4 different charts, 3 different charts for trade setup, and the 4th chart is simply for trade direction and overall trend. So the idea is to try to get in the direction of the longer term trend and stick with it while the trend is intact. And then you trade the shorter time frame based upon the longer term trend. Now it's either 5, 15, 30 or a 15, 30, 40, 60 time frame. Now using third-party tools, when you go into the configuration and you set the configuration rules up, then when you load a setup, now I'll set up an hourly chart just to show you. Here I have 3 different color rules set up. One's using trend, one's using a heat map, one's using volume. I'll show you how I set those up by creating a brand new color rule by clicking the plus sign. I will call this one momentum. The first condition would be a bullish setup. Indicator I would use would be from my computer, and I'm using a custom indicator, so it's not going to be any of the standard indicators on your platform. Just use a custom indicator. And then from the list of all of your indicators that you have, find the indicator that you're interested in using that's custom. So I would use the, where is that at? There it is. So this indicator has a set of parameters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all of the inputs. So if I were to pull up the indicator list on a chart, if I were to go to, say, the heat map and edit this, then all of the, in the inputs, these are all of the parameters right here, 1 through 10. All of these are accessible to that. So the first parameter is a, it's a Boolean on-off value. So it's a number, would be 1 or 0. The second one would be the same. It's true or false. So it would be a 1 or 0. If you don't have to change these at all, then just leave this check mark here as a default parameter, and you don't have to input anything. But if you do take this off and you change, you don't have to change them all. Just only change the parameter that you are currently changing on your inputs. And the rest of them will be by default. If they're left as 0, then they'll be default to the original values. Okay. So the indicator line to use is the output of the indicator that you're using. Notice there can be multiple outputs for any of the indicators. To see which indicator or output that we are using, I'm going to have to cancel out of these and not save it to show you this. Now notice that the setup configurations are here. This right here is your data window, or if under view, you can go and pull up your data window. And then from the data window, you will see whatever chart that you're on, the output of the indicators that you're currently using. Okay, so on this chart, you can see that I have the Hawkeye heat map right here, and under window indicator, window 1. So there are 4 different outputs for this indicator, 4. So when I use the scanner, I need to remember that output 1 is the weak uptrend. Output 2 is the strong uptrend. Output 3 is the weak downtrend, and output 4 is the strong downtrend. That's all you have to remember. Right now, it's 1 is listed right next to the strong downtrend, which means the current configuration right here is showing a bright red, which is a strong down. You can see on the signal there that they have a strong down signal. All right, so that's all 4 of the different ones. You can see there's a strong down, a weak down, strong up, and weak up. So that shows the momentum or strength of the current trend, and I want to have access to that. Okay, so I can get that here simply by 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I pull up my configuration, edit, go to my scanner. Again, I can do this here. I'll just add one to there. I'll call it, again, momentum. Bullish. Indicator. Pick. Heat map. I'll leave the base indicator the same. So this is the bullish, strong bullish. So I know the strong bullish is signal 4. The weak bullish is signal 3. Strong bear is 2, and weak bear is 1. So signal 4 is the output that I want. That's all you have to select. The shift value allows you to look back in time, but the only one that you really need to use is the output line that we already saw we wanted, which was 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, was 4 was the strong, I think. Uptrend, so no, you're right. This one should be number 2. Weak uptrend, strong uptrend. Weak downtrend, strong downtrend. That was it. All right, so Hawkeye heat map 2, which is the strong uptrend. It has to be equal to 1, or in this case, I'm just going to say it has to be greater than 0. Now you can pull up a 0 from what you've already used, or you can add any constant value that you want to, just simply by typing it in here and adding it to the list here. I already have 0, so I want the heat map value to be greater than 0. That will give me a strong uptrend. All right. Next condition, I want it to be a weak uptrend. So I'll make it dark green. In this case, I'm going to use the exact same indicator. But in this case, I'm going to select the line 1. That's the weak uptrend. See, so now it says heat map 1. I want it to also be greater than 0. Next, it's going to be a strong downtrend. Nope, not that one. That one. Indicator. Choose from your computer. Same one. In this case, it will be strong downtrend, which is 4. Weak would be 3. Has to be greater than 0. Last but not least, be a weak pick. This will be number 3. Greater than 0. And that's it. So you do this for any number of variables that you want to use to compare it with. In this particular case, there are 4 different outputs, and I want to look at which output condition so that when the cell color is this color, I know I am in a weak uptrend or a weak downtrend and so forth. And so it's automatically going to update that. It'll start when this one, move to this one, this one, this one. If none of these are true, then it will be yellow. That's my momentum indicator. So select OK. And notice that I have that applied to the 5 period. But if I click it by turning it off, then it's not going to use that particular one. but I can apply it to my longer time frame. So, well, right here, I'm only looking at volume, but I want to look at volume and momentum. Select OK, save it, and make sure I load it because it won't do anything until you've loaded it. So on the 5-minute time frame, I'm looking at trend, volume, heat map. So they're all three red. On the second time frame, I'm only looking at momentum and volume. And the third time frame, I'm also just looking at momentum and volume. So whenever you see these two opposed, white means it's neutral, the volume. And this will be bright green, first strong trend, bright red, first strong trend, and it will be dark for any other trend direction like you see over here. Dark one way or dark the other. And that's the setup. It's very straightforward, easy to use. So just make sure that you use the data window for the symbol and the indicators that you're using. Look at the output to see what variable is triggered, and then use that variable output location in the scanner. And that's how easy it is. Go ahead and turn that back off because I don't want to leave it set up like that. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of it. I think I can do that right here. No, I think if I just deselect it and go away, then if it's not used anywhere, it'll disappear. I think that's the way it's configured to be removed. Looks good. That one's off, and that one is off. Good. Did that answer your question, Willie? I hope so. Good. All right. Well, again, if you want to get started with MT4Professional today, here's the link, mt4professional.com/trial. You get access to 14 days, absolutely free to try it. See if it makes your setup. Use any of our pre-configured strategies in your trading. Feel free to make money during the time. If you like it, if you like what you see, only $97 a month gets you full access to the complete platform, to the scanner, all the rules that you have already developed, automated at your fingertip. So stop missing those trades. Use MT4Professional today to make a difference. And again, you can always contact us at support@mt4professional.com. And those of you who are asking, we do have an affiliate relationship with Hawkeye that if you're interested in these tools for your platform, then we provide a link there for you to get a good discount where you get access to the software for a really good discounted price, and then a follow-up with the follow-on price reduction. So just use the link that Claudio posted earlier to get started with the Hawkeye tools if you're interested in those. If there are any other questions, now's the time to ask. Any setup, any example, configuration, any indicator? If there's an indicator setup that you saw, you want me to share with you, I'll be more than glad to do that. Here, Willie, let me share that with you. I do have one here that's looking at just the volume here. I've got one with using the strategy with just the starter package right here that I will share with you. And there you go. I just shared it with you. So now you have the configuration that I've developed right here for just the volume, the starter package. Let me go ahead and load that. Up for you. So what this is looking at is 3 different time frames. It's looking at the starter package, which is the volume, tools, the pivot, the wide bar, and it allows you to look at price action relative to those setups. So that's what I just sent you, and you can see the trigger based upon volume on those. If you upgrade to the other packages that you had seen earlier, then I've got the configurations for those as well. Just let me know, and I'll be more than glad to send it to you. Yeah, that's a really great deal on the starter package, $97 for a lifetime license. Yeah, it's I think it's normally $497 or something like that, or I think it's $97 a month, and you get it one-time fee for a lifetime license. I think it's a great deal. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, any more comments or feedback, then I'll go ahead and stop the presentation for today. I really appreciate you being part of my class, and we'll be here the same time in 2 weeks to answer any questions you might have to get you going and to help you get started. So thank you very much for joining me today. Take care and have a great rest of your week.